Very sadly, we're a nation in decline, and yet they go after a popular president, a president that got more votes than any sitting president in the history of our country.
Former President Donald Trump announcing on his social media platform, Truth Social, that he's been indicted. That information from prosecutors directly to his attorneys. Hello and welcome to Capitol Review. I'm Tasmin Mahfouz, and in that video that we just saw, Trump says he's leading in all of the polls among Democrats and Republicans for the 2024 presidential election. And joining us now is our contributor, Mark Hall. So a lot happening this week. We saw that his lawyer, Jim Trusty, on our network, News Nation, saying that this was crazy. This was all brand new information. How did he react to the indictment?
Well, Tasmin, just after Trusty was on News Nation and Trump announced that it's actually a big change in his legal team. He says that attorney Todd Blanche will represent him along with another firm to be named later. But let's talk about what Trusty said on Friday. Trusty said that he had not received the indictment himself, and however, he says that he received a summary sheet as part of the summons to be in court. This is set to happen on Tuesday, and he says this is not a criminal issue under the Presidential Records Act, and this whole thing is a civil dispute. Now, some documents, he says, could lean towards the Espionage Act. Take a listen.
I think the reason they dusted off the Espionage Act is because they know that the Presidential Records Act doesn't lead to criminal liability. There's no criminal statute, no criminal penalty associated with the Presidential Records Act, which guides the whole process of former presidents dealing with the archives people at National Archives and Records Administration.
And joining us now is Rebecca Beitsch. Rebecca is the National Security and Legal Affairs reporter with our media partners at The Hill. Rebecca, welcome to Capitol Review. Let's get started. Former President Trump's lawyer, who we just heard from, says that he's not actually seen the indictment. You know, what are some of the biggest charges that the former president is facing?
Yeah, so just to be clear, what Trump's legal team has right now is a summons. That's what's detailing that Trump needs to appear in court in Miami on Tuesday at 3 p.m. But it does spell out some of the charges. What we're seeing so far is at least 7 counts on 4 different charges. And they include some charges that were not initially included in the warrant to search Mar-a-Lago, including different types of obstruction of justice.
Well, as you know, the former president has faced a lot of legal troubles in the past few months, including being found liable for sexual abuse and defamation in the E. Jean Carroll case in New York. He's expected to maybe appear at some events over the weekend. How do you think the president is handling things right now?
So, you know, he obviously was out front on this. He was willing to announce the indictment. He came out ahead of DOJ to say that he would be indicted. This fits with, you know, his behavior in past, you know, when you face other legal troubles, including in the New York incident, the hush money probe, where he's willing to come out and say that he's been indicted, but he also uses, you know, he receives usually silence from prosecutors in the face of that who don't want to get it ahead of their indictment. And, you know, you see him on social media saying that he's innocent of the charges, but he also routinely broadcasts that he believes, you know, this is unfair, an unfair prosecution, a witch hunt, politically motivated. And that's been consistent in just about every single legal matter that he's faced.
Well, he's set to appear in court Tuesday. What happens next?
So during that arraignment, Trump will be read the charges, and if the indictment isn't unsealed before then, it will be unsealed in that proceeding, and reporters will be able to look at it and parse out the extent of the charges, but also hopefully some of the evidence that DOJ has collected over, you know, roughly the last year as they've pursued this case since the search.
Well, Rebecca, obviously the former president is the leading candidate right now on the Republican side for the Republican nomination. Does this indictment really impact how people think about him? Do things really even change?
You know, I think that'll be up to voters to decide. We've certainly, you know, seen different people say different things. For whatever reason, there's been some perception that perhaps the New York charges are, for whatever reason, not as serious. The charges that have been brought against Trump in this case, in the Mar-a-Lago case, are particularly serious. They do include charges under the Espionage Act and obstruction of justice. And those can both carry serious jail time. And so obviously it'll be up to each voter to decide, what to make of the case, the strength of the evidence, whether that's going to influence, their opinion of Trump or how they might vote for him. And of course, it's ultimately up to a jury to determine whether he, is guilty of these charges that DOJ is bringing.
And Rebecca, your thoughts on the GOP reaction so far to this indictment?
A lot of it is largely in line with what Trump has said, right? They are echoing the statement that he released last night, essentially saying this is a witch hunt or an unfair prosecution. But we have senators like Mitt Romney, other people who are in, a crowd that's not as aligned to Trump. And, Romney was very clear in saying that Trump brought this prosecution on himself, not only by, leaving with the documents, but passing up numerous opportunities to return them when asked.
Rebecca Beitsch with our media partners at The Hill, thank you.